What if I told you? The system that holds the global economy together didn't break, but it just quietly started changing? No crash, no emergency meeting, no breaking news, just a shift. And the most dangerous part? Almost nobody is paying attention. Because while people are focused on inflation, interest rates, and stock prices, something much bigger is happening underneath. Something that affects how money moves across the entire world. And once that kind of shift begins, it doesn't reverse easily. It accelerates. Let me explain this in a way that actually makes sense. Imagine the global financial system as a massive operating system. For decades, it has run on one core foundation: trust in a single dominant currency. That system made trade faster. It made borrowing easier. It made growth predictable. But here's the truth most people don't realize. Systems like that don't fail suddenly. They evolve quietly until one day you realize you're no longer using the same system you thought you were. And right now, we're somewhere in that transition. On the surface, everything looks fine. Markets are open. Banks are functioning. People are still spending. But beneath that surface, pressure is building. And pressure in financial systems doesn't show up as noise. It shows up as behavior change. Let me show you what I mean. There's a business owner, mid-sized company, nothing flashy. For years, his world was predictable. He could import materials, pay suppliers, manage currency risk, all within a system that felt stable. Now something feels different. Payments take longer. Currency costs fluctuate more than expected. Partners are asking for different settlement terms. Nothing dramatic, but enough friction to make him pause. And when business owners start pausing, they stop expanding. Now think about an average family. They're doing everything right. Working, saving, planning, but something feels off. Their expenses are rising in ways they didn't anticipate. Their savings don't feel as secure. Their financial decisions suddenly feel heavier. It's not panic, it's pressure. And then there's the investor, not reckless, not chasing hype, just someone trying to read the system. They're noticing patterns that don't behave like they used to. Relationships between markets are shifting. Safe assets don't feel as safe. Signals that once made sense now feel unreliable. And when experienced investors feel uncertainty, that's not randomness, that's a signal. Now here's where it gets serious, because all of these small changes point to something bigger. The way the global system depends on one central structure is slowly being tested, not destroyed, tested. Countries are rethinking how they trade, not loudly, not aggressively, but strategically. They're exploring alternatives, reducing reliance, building parallel systems. And when that happens, not even slowly, it changes everything, because the strength of a financial system isn't just built on numbers, it's built on participation. The more people use it, and the stronger it becomes. But the moment participants start exploring other options, that strength begins to dilute, not collapse, dilute. And dilution is dangerous because it's invisible at first. There's no headline that says, today confidence dropped by 2%. It happens gradually, quietly, until suddenly the system doesn't feel as dominant as it once did. Now, if you're finding this valuable, take a moment to stay connected, because understanding these shifts early puts you in a completely different position than reacting late, because this isn't about predicting disaster. It's about recognizing transition. Let's go deeper. There's something I've learned after decades of watching financial systems. Every major shift follows the same pattern. First, stability. Then small changes, then denial, then realization. Right now, we're between change and denial. Most people still believe the system works exactly the way it always has, and to be fair, for now it mostly does, but the foundation is no longer static, it's moving. And when foundations move, the effects don't hit everyone at once. They spread like cracks in a structure. The business owner delays expansion. That means fewer jobs. The family cuts spending. That slows demand. The investor becomes cautious. That reduces market momentum. Individually, these are small decisions. Collectively, they reshape the economy. This is how slow transitions become major shifts, not through collapse, through accumulation. Now, here's the part that matters most for you, because none of this is useful if it doesn't translate into action. So what do you actually do in a moment like this? First, stop assuming stability, not because things are falling apart, but because they're changing, and change requires awareness. Second, treat debt differently. In a stable system, debt can accelerate growth. In a shifting system, debt amplifies risk, especially variable or high-interest debt. Third, build liquidity, not as a strategy of fear, but as a strategy of flexibility, because when systems shift, opportunities appear, but only for those who have room to act. Fourth, increase adaptability. The most valuable asset in uncertain environments is not capital, it's capability, your ability to learn, adjust, and respond. And finally, pay attention, not to headlines, but to patterns, because headlines tell you what already happened. Patterns tell you what's coming. Let me leave you with this. The biggest financial changes in history didn't start with panic. They started with subtle shifts that most people ignored. This moment right now, it may not feel dramatic, it may not feel urgent. But that doesn't mean it isn't important, because when something big begins quietly, the people who notice early are the ones who are ready when everyone else finally realizes. So stay aware, stay prepared, and most importantly, don't confuse calm with stability, because sometimes the most important changes are the ones nobody is talking about.